Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. Today's analysis is with a local swim coach, and he recently started doing Ironman triathlons. And we're just going to take a look at it. So my name is Tim Floyd, and I'm a longtime swim coach myself and triathlon coach. And we'll take a look at the video today and just jump right in. Here we go. So I'll let it play for a little bit. You can get an idea of his stroke, and then we can talk about what we're going to talk about. Okay, so we'll back it up now and just kind of take a look and see what we've got. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing you kind of see is, he's actually, compared to some of the recent stuff that we've done, he's got a pretty good line running right down the middle of his body. His feet are up, hips are up, head and shoulders aren't too high. And I think he's been kind of low 30s, just over an hour for an Ironman swim. So he's a strong swimmer in amongst triathletes, and you can see, one of the issues is he's breathing a little late, and rotating a lot to get the breath. So you can see kind of those feet come apart right there. And then the other thing is right here, you can see that elbow enters in first before the wrist. And then he's got this, kind of this little, kind of really kind of tense kind of hand wrist going on. Part of that's connected, though, back here. And you can see when we get to the underwater what I'm talking about. So you can see where, it looks like he's getting a better pull on the right side, so the opposite side that we're looking at from here, and that the left just kind of goes through, but he's not getting as good of a pull on the water. So you can see kind of looks like he gets some good connection with the water, connection with his body. But here was what we really tried to work on in this, because if you don't correct this at the top of the stroke, so you can see, he's coming in right there. A lot of the momentum is going, a lot of it's going forward, okay, but some of it is going that direction. So he's got to correct for that somewhere. And what ends up happening a lot of times is, you end up fighting yourself to go forward. So right there, and then he's kind of drops the elbow. You can see that straight arm pull right there from this angle. And then the momentum coming around. And then on the right, he's not crossing over. Again, momentum, so he's basically right on the midline. So if there's kind of the midline, he's right on it. And again, a lot of the momentum is going in that opposite direction. And what we want to try to do, because that cost of drag is so high in swimming, we want to get as much of that momentum that we're trying to generate and the propulsion that we're getting from the pull and a little bit from the kick in the water. We want that to go as perfectly straight as possible. So this right here becomes really, really kind of the first thing that you want to work on is, getting all of that to go really, really straight. So we'll go forward to kind of the first things that, and we'll actually look right here. So, here's where he's doing a pretty good job is, right here, you can see kind of a little bit of the foot, but it's mostly kind of his chest and his arms and his head and his shoulders that are the frontal drag, okay? But everything else, you can see his kind of thigh kind of popping out right about there. Everything else, though, is pretty much tucked up behind that, which is where we want to be. And that's why we want to be there, because we're trying to minimize that amount of drag that we've got on the water. But head position looks good. He doesn't move his head a lot, and he stays at kind of looking down at the bottom of the pool with a pretty good line running through his body. So then the first thing we decided to work on then was, just go to the pipe drill and really try to get him a better feel for, and we went through a couple rounds of this. So you can see right here, he still hasn't quite figured it out. We figured that his kind of shoulder width apart was hands just inside those end caps. And so then you'd want, then on the right side, the hand entering where that outer side of the hand is just on that end cap. So you can see when we first start out with this, he's immediately going back to what he knows, what he's been training his brain and body to do, and then he slides his hand out. And then you can see when we come through here, so here is that, since the momentum is not going perfectly straight, we can kind of see that curve in the body. And then you can see the beginning of his feet kind of coming apart back here to stabilize that whole movement. So then what we did was, the next one you'll see that he gets a little bit better at it. We did some additional cueing, showed him the video again, so he has a better understanding of where everything is in relation to everything else. So here we are kind of coming at it again. And you can see one of the things that happens is, so if we look right here, you can see then from the top of his head right through his body, he's got a pretty straight line running right up and down kind of that midline. That everything is operating off of that axis, which is what we want. That's what you want to see. That's when you know that kind of you're going to be getting a lot more core engagement. All of these muscles are going to be functioning kind of together and working together because they're all coordinated, and you're not having to fight yourself to go forward. So here he is, kind of the application of it. And you can see, a lot more of everything is going forward. There's still a little bit more kind of curve than you'd like to see right here. You'd really like this to be kind of from here down. It would just be a straight line on that side. But no, it's certainly it's a big improvement. And then what he's going to do is just take that into practice and try to practice that and develop that feel for what he's doing over and over and over again, and be really present and focused while he's doing it. And that's the only way that you change the stroke. If you're not focused and present in the practice when you're doing these harder sets, you're just going to then ingrain in that brain, nervous system, body, whatever it is that you happen to be training, whether you're focused on it or not. So if it's sloppy, you'll get sloppy. If it's really sharp and focused, that's what you'll get. So, it's kind of the old line, what you think you become. So if you're really sharp and focused on your stroke, that's how the stroke's going to look. So thank you again for tuning in. Please like, share, comment down below. I am always happy to answer any questions whatsoever. And you can find us at swimeasyspeed.com or follow us on Instagram at swimeasyspeed. So thanks again for tuning in.